From the broadcast center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good morning, you're listening to 1680 The Crow. I'm Caitlin O, and here is your 10 a.m. news. A 15-year-old has been arrested in Port Moody after chasing a teen with a knife outside a high school. The teen was arrested Monday afternoon. According to police, two teens got into an altercation at a bus stop near Heritage Woods Secondary School, escalating to where one teen started chasing the other with a large knife. Police say the second teen was able to flee to safety and there were no injuries. However, community members are urging for something to be done to ensure the safety of children in the Tri-Cities. The City of Vancouver is looking for an operator to run an e-scooter system in the city. Vancouver already has a public bike-sharing program, and e-scooter companies like Lime are operating in Richmond and Coquitlam. The City of Vancouver says it wants the operator to have a hybrid model of parking, with specific areas to park the scooters. The earliest this e-scooter program could be implemented would be in spring next year. BC poultry farmers are taking extreme measures to prevent the spread of avian flu in their flocks. So far, 39 commercial and backyard flocks have been infected in BC since the start of the fall migration of wild birds. Amanda Burton, the BC Poultry Association's Chief Information Officer, says farmers are doing all they can to stop the spread of the infection.
Almost no one goes into the barn other than the farmer themselves or a vet. Before anybody goes into the barn, they're changing their shoes 2 and 3 times. They're changing their clothing or putting on like a biosecurity suit over their clothing.
Once a farm is infected, the whole flock has to be put down to prevent spread. Almost 5 million birds in BC have died or have been culled so far this season. Those are some of the stories we're covering today. We are now joined by our producer, Jerson Orashan, on more stories we are looking at.
Well, Caitlin, some of the other stories that we're looking at today include BCIT doing a town hall with the school's new president, Jeff Zabudsky, a food security program for queer and trans seniors during a fundraiser, a feature on daylight savings time, and For the Record with Elder Florence Williams from Squamish Nation. Plus any breaking news that could happen today. Back to you.
Thanks, Jerson. Playland announced the name of their newest roller coaster today. Thunderbolt will be opening next summer. Construction began earlier this year and will be Canada's fastest electric launch coaster. The ride can carry 12 people at a time, and it is a 3-car train that runs through an illuminated tunnel and a 60-foot drop. Whistler Blackcomb is opening tomorrow for skiing and snowboarding. The lifts will begin operating at 8:30 a.m. to launch the winter sports season. In a news release announcing the opening, the resort says they will continue to make snow in the early season to take advantage of ongoing snowfall to expand terrain. The latest day to buy passes is December 3rd, as lift tickets will be limited throughout the winter. And moving on to international news, Israel and Hamas have reached a ceasefire agreement. In exchange for the 4-day halt, Hamas agreed to release dozens of hostages. 50 of the estimated 240 hostages of Hamas in the Gaza Strip are set to be released in stages. There will be an exchange of 150 Palestinian prisoners. Reporter Liz Sanders has more.
After the Israeli War Cabinet met to approve the deal, Prime Minister Netanyahu's office said their government will continue to fight for the elimination of Hamas. And President Biden saying in a statement he welcomes the deal and is grateful that hostages who, quote, endured weeks of captivity and an unspeakable ordeal will be reunited with their families once this deal is fully implemented.
Both sides will release women and children first, and the supply of humanitarian aid flowing into Gaza will be increased. Now for the weather in Burnaby, it's currently 6 degrees and partly cloudy. The clouds are expected to clear later this afternoon, with temperatures rising to a high of 9 degrees. Overnight tonight, temperatures will cool to 3 degrees, and it will continue to be sunny throughout the week. That was your 10 a.m. news. I'm Caitlin No, and you're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretanero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
Welcome to For the Record. I'm Jerson Rashun. With 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, Daisuke Beppu covers releases by the Criterion Collection and does discussions on film history, making him one of the places to go to learn about the film. He begins his videos with greetings from Tokyo, though it is different now because he recently moved to Los Angeles. In the age of streaming, Daisuke joins me to talk about physical media and the success of his channel. So Daisuke, I know in your channel you talk a lot about film, reviewing in-depth releases by the Criterion Collection, and also you also kind of do like discussions on films through the many series you do on your channel, and at times you also do some impersonations of like various like actors and directors. So what makes your channel successful?
Well, first of all, it's just it's a fun time, and also for me to try to express myself in terms of this thing which I really, really enjoy, which is cinema. And also, if I were to speak in terms of success, I would say that the success would be in being able for me to meet people through the YouTube platform, through comment section, through meeting people like yourself or like others. So in terms of the success in that way, I mean, if one marks success as maybe meeting a new friend, meeting a new acquaintance in the world, whether it's be across YouTube or even in person, yeah, I consider myself very, very fortunate indeed. So I look at it in those terms, I think.
Yeah, so as you probably know, the Criterion Collection is pretty much like film school in a box, and they release films, not just some well-known films, but also films from around the world that you may not know, but you could probably discover when you watch these films. Plus, with special features that kind of makes you appreciate the film more, and the packaging too kind of enhances the experience. So I know you probably have a large collection of films from the Criterion Collection, possibly every film they release. Is it an accomplishment for you to try to get every film that's released by the Criterion Collection?
Perhaps it could be seen as accomplishment, sure, in terms of because it's a very vast number of titles. Definitely, yes. And it's this idea of collecting and physical media is a very important aspect of film watching and media consumption, etc. Very important. I suppose for me, I always look at it personally anyway, as a means by which I can continue on with my own cinema journey and watching movies. When I was very, very young, many years ago, I mean, there are these things which were like you would mail in a coupon or something, and then this company would send you videotapes like once a month, or a book club. You'd get a monthly selection of books. And that would be the company's recommendations for the week. So that type of recommendation, I see my interaction with the product of the Criterion Collection to be in a similar vein. I look at it as their selection of titles for a particular month, and it's a kind of curated list from my view. And for me, it's Criterion. I suppose maybe for others it could be other labels, other titles. Maybe the new lineup on, say, the Netflix streaming services or Hulu or whatever the case may be for one's particular tastes and needs as a consumer and as film and one's own film tastes. But for me, that's how I look at it. So in terms of collecting, it's very fun and exciting. I think primarily it's a kind of a curated film journey for me.
I know last summer you moved to Los Angeles because you're from Tokyo because of your job, and I know when you announced this on your channels, not only it was a big deal, but also it was very exciting, and like you probably so far have fun time there. So how is Los Angeles so far?
Oh, thank you very much for asking. Yes, I moved. I was living in Tokyo for many years, and then due to certain job-related circumstances, I moved with my family to Los Angeles, and we've been living here for about a few months. It's been very exciting. I admit it's been somewhat busy with moving in details and the like, so I haven't been able to visit all the film sites and movie theaters that I would like, but maybe as things get a little bit more calmer, I might be able to find some time to do so. Maybe just a little bit. We live in a certain area, which means it's a little bit of a distance to drive by car, so it's not the it does take a little bit of a time commitment, so I haven't been able to do that. But overall, it's been really exciting. A new environment, Los Angeles, the area, being able to access these titles and talk to people closer in the sort of film communities, movie theaters. As I mentioned, I have been able to go to a couple of movie theater showings, so it's been overall a really exciting experience. I visited a place called the New Beverly Cinema, which was the first theater I visited when I moved here. and we saw I saw some Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns. It was a really fantastic experience.
With the situation of happening with streaming, I mean, like, this might lead to people probably coming back to physical media. Do you think physical media is making a comeback?
What I can say is I do hear things in the news about, say, physical media maybe receding. Maybe certain stores might be not selling physical media anymore, or maybe there might be some decrease in stock and offerings of these. But in terms of my own local vicinity and my own, say, shopping habits, I don't see any type of receding of the availability of physical media. It seems like the channels available, or the opportunities available for purchase, are still there, and those channels seem to be quite vibrant indeed. And if I were to say it in the opposite way, I do hear news about the emergence of new labels, up and coming labels that are actually doing very, very well. Really exciting titles. Yes, exactly. Radiance, and then going from even just from a few years ago, starting with a place like Powerhouse Indicator, and then the emergence of great titles like Vinegar Syndrome, and then Severin, etc. And now 101. Arrow's been there. Arrow's been there now. I mean, Arrow. I remember when Arrow was quote unquote the new kid on the block, but now it's a real big player, and it's really huge. So that is an indication to me of more emerging labels seem also to suggest the opposite, meaning, as you indicated, or as you suggest, there is a really still a great and healthy appetite for physical media titles.
Daisuke, and finally, what advice would you kind of give to someone that is new to getting Blu-rays?
I mean, there's so many out there, absolutely so many out there, and even of the same title. One film might have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 releases, deluxe releases depending on the store, some exclusive from this store or a steelbook from that store, etc. And sometimes it might seem a little bit overwhelming. What to get or what not to get. I would say very simply, start with a film that you really enjoy, something that you enjoy, and as a Blu-ray or something, or a DVD disc, or even if it's a used VHS tape, which I also very much support and I really appreciate and love. I have my own VHS titles myself, but if it's a physical media title, for me anyway, it's always been a film that I can watch again and again. Maybe, I don't watch it all the time constantly, but it's something I put in a player, I watch, and maybe if I'm in the mood, I can put it and watch it again a week later, a month later or something, and still get so much out of it. So if it's a film like that, for you, if you can watch it again and again, then I think the price of it will be totally worth it to you. And then on top of that, if you're looking for the specific version and the like, there are so many sites now. There are so many great places to look online for this research, whether it be reviews on, say, online retailers, or maybe specialty sites regarding Blu-ray releases, or YouTube channels, much better than mine, for example. So yes, exactly. Or Blu-ray.com or things like that. So and forums and the like. So there's always this discussion about which version is better or filled with more details and appropriate, etc. But that's also a subjective viewpoint as well. So that makes it more exciting. The choice is, I think, is quite voluminous, which I think is very exciting. So ultimately, at the end of the day, always think about a film that you really enjoy and feel like you can watch over and over again. If that's the case, then whatever you get, it'll definitely be worth it.
Daisuke, keep watching great movies. Daisuke, thank you very much.
Thank you so much for this invite. Warmest regards. Thank you very much.
That is Daisuke Beppu, film YouTuber. And that is For the Record, produced by BCIT's Broadcast Online Journalism program. I'm Jonathan Rochon. Thanks for listening.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikakane.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikakane. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that.
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.
From the Broadcast Center at BCIT's Burnaby Campus, this is All Talk Radio. You're listening to 1680 The Crow.
Good morning and welcome to the 10:30 a.m. newscast. I'm Kevin Pontius. A terrifying incident occurred near Port Moody High School on Monday afternoon as school was finishing for the day. According to police, two teens got into an altercation at a bus stop not far from Heritage Woods Secondary. One teen escalated the situation and began to chase the other with a large knife through a crowd of students. The victim was able to escape unharmed, and the other was arrested later in the evening by police. The police are asking eyewitnesses to come forward to determine exactly what happened. A suspicious man has been reported to the BCIT security office for allegedly conducting an e-transfer fraud. Our reporter Sean Park has more information on how students feel about the situation.
BCIT students on campus say they are a bit concerned about seeing the notice on their learning arm about the alleged suspicious man. One of them, Armin Billing, says the school should be a safe place to be.
It's like they're trying to take advantage of your kindness, especially at BCIT. Everyone is super kind and welcoming, but really they're taking advantage of you. It just makes you feel very unsafe. It's not a position I want to be put in.
Billing says they are going around campus in group of more than 2 and are aware of the BCIT SafetyWise app in case of emergencies. Sean Park, 1680, The Crow.
According to a press release from the PNE, Playland has announced this morning their newest ride. After looking through over 3,000 names, the organization decided on the name The Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt is a 3-car train that whips around an illuminated tunnel before a steep incline at a nearly 60-foot drop. The Thunderbolt will replace the Corkscrew, which was recently retired. Poultry farmers are having to take extreme measures to try to stop the spread of bird flu. Data from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency show that almost 5 million birds have died in the past 5 weeks alone. Amanda Breton, the BC Poultry Association's Chief Information Officer, details the extreme measures being taken.
Almost no one goes into the barn other than the farmer themselves or a vet. Before anybody goes into the barn, they're changing their shoes 2 and 3 times. They're changing their clothing or putting on like a biosecurity suit over their clothing.
Some breaking news from earlier this morning. Astronaut Joshua Kutrick will be the first Canadian to fly to the space station as a member of the Starliner 1 mission. The agency also announced earlier today that Canadian astronaut Jenny Gibbons will serve as the CSA backup on the Artemis 2 mission. Artemis 2 will be a crewed flight beyond the moon, which will take humans the farthest they've ever been in space. Over to international news now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to a temporary ceasefire on Wednesday. The ceasefire is expected to last 4 days. Charles de Ledesma from the Associated Press has more.
The announcements capped weeks of indirect Qatari-led negotiations between Israel and Hamas. The US and Egypt were also involved in stop-and-go talks to free some of the roughly 240 hostages. President Joe Biden has welcomed the deal, saying Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has committed to supporting an extended pause to make sure that the hostages are released and humanitarian aid can be sent to Gaza. Qatar's Prime Minister and top diplomat Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman adds he hopes the deal would eventually lead to a permanent ceasefire and serious talks on resolving the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
A remote fishing community in Alaska has seen 3 people killed and 3 more missing due to a landslide. The slide took place early Tuesday morning. Crews are currently using a cadaver-sniffing dog and heat-sensing drones to search for those missing. Local geologist Barrett Salisbury gave us his tips for what to watch out for regarding landslides.
One of the biggest signs that people need to be listening for are noises like rumbling, trees cracking, boulders knocking, especially if that noise starts as a faint noise and gets louder and louder and louder.
Now time for weather. In Burnaby, it is currently 6 degrees with some overcast. The clouds are expected to clear later this afternoon, with temperatures rising to a high of 9 degrees. Looking ahead to the rest of the week, we have sunshine all the way into the weekend. The overnight low is expected to be around 3 degrees. Thanks for listening. I'm Kevin Pontius for 1680 The Crow.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
Everything is changing to digital. Everything is online. People aren't just waiting for the 6 o'clock news anymore. People want their news right now. They want to be able to go onto their smartphone, onto the internet, and see the news that they want to see.
Vancouver is growing at, a really rapid rate, the Lower Mainland even, and with the tools that we're given here, we're able to cover all of that
Welcome to BCIT Magazine. I'm Radhika Sikki-King.
In the program, they really leave it up to you. I mean, the help is there when you need it, figuring out how to use the programs like Premiere, Audition, and figuring out how to use the cameras. But it's up to you to sort of experiment and figure out what you can do when you go out in the field.
They brought candles and flowers to remember the student who lost her life yesterday.
Theresa May says the international community condemns Moscow.
They really make sure that you know the basics and you are able to put out a quality product.
I'm Brady Tretnero.
And I'm Radhika Sikki-King. Thank you for tuning in to BCIT Magazine.